Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, at the request of channel supporter Spunky, I am playing Spunky's take on Jeskai Control. Jeskai Control was popularized a month or two ago as a solution to the 4-color control metagame. This deck, with its pile of red elemental blasts and pyroblasts in the sideboard, its blood moons to beat up on the greedy mana bases, the planeswalkers that are difficult to beat for control mirrors anyway. This deck really just carved up the dark band and 4-color red band metagame. Since that point, it's become more of a known quantity and people are more ready for it. I don't think this deck is as good against Delver as people thought it would be originally. Like with the 8 Swords to Plowshares and the Supreme Verdicts and everything, like Delver still is pretty reasonable against this deck. The printing of Boseiju makes Blood Moon a little bit worse. The printing of Hidatsugu Consumes All puts Grixis Control in the metagame, and Grixis is probably a terrible matchup for this deck. But Jeskai is back on the map. It is a solution to the 4-color control greed pile blue soup metagame. And the big debate in the space is how hard to go on Days Undoing. The original list had 3 Days Undoing and then 3 Narset, 3 Hull Breacher. It was basically Blue-White Omni Show masquerading as Jeskai Control. But the decks have adopted Timeless Dragon as a way to hit their land drops, and it's a on-curve, uncounterable 4/4 flying creature against Delver, which is a big deal. If you cycle it on turn 2, hit your land drops, Eternalize it on turn 4. Eternalize is an activated ability, not a spell. You would need to stifle it. You can't use Daze, and it's just bigger than Delver or Dragon's Rage Channeler. So basically a almost locked in 3-for-1, because they'd have to bolt it twice or attack, put some damage on it, you eat their creature in combat, then they finished off with a bolt, and you got the planes on the way through. Timeless Dragon is just a value machine in the matchups where you need that. Dragons become pretty standard in these lists. Shark Typhoon wanes in popularity. I've seen between 1 and 3 in lists. Spunky's on 2 here. 2 Supreme Verdict in the main. Not interested in losing to creatures. The cool thing about Supreme Verdict is it's blue, so it feeds your 6 forces in the spell matchups, and it's basically the best sweeper. Well, assuming you get it to 4 mana, it's one of the best sweepers against creature decks. No questions asked from Delver. Just put your creatures in the graveyard. Nope, don't look at those 4 cards in your hand. They don't matter. I love Supreme Verdict. I like playing with the card. And another card I like playing with is, of course, Monastery Mentor. Spunky has 1 of these in the deck. Mentor is much like Days Undoing. It's a gas pedal you can hit when you're slightly ahead. One of the problems with Grixis and Bant, any variety of Bant, and basically any variety of Grixis, is they don't have a gas pedal. They can 1-for-1 you, like Fatal Push your creature, Him to Turok you, Prismatic Ending a thing, cast Uro, and then it's like, okay, and now we wait. Sort of, there's no way to end a game immediately as soon as you have the room to do so. And Days Undoing and Monastery Mentor both do that in wildly different ways. Basically, all of the flex slots in the Jeskai shell, Spunky has filled with creatures, so this is a more creaturey version. Like Timeless Dragon is usually a 1-of, Shark Typhoon's usually a 1-of, there's usually not a Monastery Mentor, this is usually Hull Breacher, which is still a creature, but not in the same kind of way that Monastery Mentor is. And this is just a different take on the deck, filling the flex slots in a different way. No expressive iteration in this list. That stood out to me too, don't worry. I did think about it, but look at the mana curve of this deck. It's like 3-drop, 3-drop, thing you don't want, thing you don't want, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. You also can't cycle off of Expressive Iteration. If you exile Timeless Dragon, you have to spend 5 mana to cast the thing. Can't cycle Shark Typhoon. There's Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic Ending are 1-drops you don't always want to cast. Like, your Expressive Iteration would have to hit like 2 lands in the 3 cards, or like a land and a card you're committed to not casting for a while. Like, there's enough lands and ones that you could play it, but anytime that you just hit average mana cost 2.5 across your 3 cards, you're going to be really disappointed. You just cast Anticipate in Legacy, and that card's bad. I am going to try the list as is without Expressive Iteration. It's possible Iteration's just powerful enough that you should just be playing it. Like, cut a Shark Typhoon, cut a Timeless Dragon, put 2 Iterations in here. You'd probably not be super unhappy with it, but I'm going to try without it. The only changes that I made to the list that Spunky sent me was I moved the sideboard around a little bit. Spunky had Back to Basics in the Blood Moon slot. I think Blood Moon is better. It doesn't get red blasted, and it's harder to Boseiju a Blood Moon. A deck like Darkbant or Lands, Lands has 1 forest in their deck and a lot of taigas or other green sources. So Back to Basics, they just need to hit 2 land drops, one of them green, and then Boseiju's back on. Blood Moon, you actually need a basic land. At least assuming the moon sticks, but they can always float green in response if they have the Boseiju ready, but sometimes they don't, and you can pick your spot. Blood Moon hurts you more because you, like, a fetch land mana base with 7 basics is almost completely unaffected by Back to Basics, where Blood Moon turns off your fetches, and that does hurt your deck quite a bit. But I think we're going to be better at playing under Blood Moon than the other decks. And Back to Basics being answered by Red Blast is just too painful. I turned Spunky's Pyroclasm into a Kozilek's Return. Being an instant is a huge deal against some decks like Elves or Death and Taxes with their Aether Vials, or Elves with their Combat, Death and Taxes, moving equipment around. Being an instant is a big deal, and you have plenty of interaction on 1 and 2 mana to survive till you have 3. Like, there's 8 plows in this deck, plus the 6 forces. You can survive till you get the extra mana. Also, Kozilek's Return, being a devoid spell, means that it's not red, which means that Mother of Runes can't protect from it. And if there are, like, protection from red or Hydroblast, or, like, there are moments, non-zero moments, where being a devoid spell matters. I had someone comment recently, what about playing Fiery Cannonade in Jeskai because it doesn't kill your Hull Breacher? And I thought that was an awesome idea that I hadn't considered because Hull Breacher is a pirate. But I think Kozilek's Return being devoid is worth more than that. And especially in this list, which literally doesn't have Hull Breacher in it. So it's irrelevant here, but in general, Fire Cannonade is a sweeper that doesn't kill Hull Breacher. And I added Grafdigger's Cage over a 3rd Force of Negation. I think between the 6 forces main, the 2 surgicals coming in, I could not think of many situations I want a 7th force. But Grafdigger's Cage is the type of thing that if you use your forces and surgicals to get to turn 1, Grafdigger's Cage can really pinch a game. Cage also overlaps with Elves in a way that something like more surgical extractions doesn't. A Cage is pretty dope. Cage has a small non-bow with Savine's Reclamation, but you don't bring those in the same matchups, so I doubt that's going to come up. And there's a fun of one of Wandering Emperor in the sideboard. I have played against this card in Legacy. I was talking to Pokemoki the other day. We were looking for something to occupy the Paradox Zone slot in Bant, now that I think Boseiju has made Paradox Zone a lot worse. And we were just looking for something to fill that, like, alternate win con slot. And we talked about cards like the Wandering Emperor, Gideon Ally of Zendikar, because Paradox Zone is basically just a planeswalker that only goes up and only makes creatures. And there are a number of planeswalkers that have comparable effects. Wandering Emperor was on the list of things we talked about. I'm excited to try it here. I somehow managed to talk for 10 minutes about a mostly stock Jeskai Control deck. I love Control so much. I'm going to stop talking before this ends up 15 minutes long. Let's get into the league. I'm on the draw. Island, Ponder, Keep. Let's go. This hand has Force of Will to survive if they're unfair, and cantrips to fix the situation if they're fair. All right, this is looking unfair to me. I believe this is a situation of hit the enabler, and then you also hit the payoffs. I hope they needed that. Actual island. And I guess I should ponder, because I'm looking for forces right now. That's not anything I want. There we go. Thanks, ponder. I want to save the brainstorm for when I have a shuffle available. Passing the turn with just brainstorm available doesn't make sense because then I see fewer cards and I already know what I'm looking for. Lotus Petal. Are we just flashing back looting? Okay. I'm not sure that I want to 2-for-1 myself again, but they spent the Lotus Petal on this. They clearly need it. Yeah, if they had anything else going on. Wish I had that Force Negation for the first time around on this looting. Whoops. And my opponent should have the read that I just drew Force of Negation, because I would have cast it last turn if I had it. Prismatic Ending and Tundra can go, or Island can go back in the deck. Then I'm gonna shuffle and ponder, and now I need to start looking for something to lock the game up. Like if I see a Narset or Teferi here, Rest Down Dazeland doing. Ugh. I don't want those. Well, I may be in trouble. When you 2-for-1 yourself twice and you can't convert or recoup those cards, they just drew into them. All right. And they have Exhume. Is there a Caracas in this list? There is not a Caracas. Okay, I'm dead. We don't need to keep playing a game like this. I guess technically I'm hellbent. I have 3 lands in my hand, so if they draw 14, unmask me, hit nothing, then maybe there's a world where I just top deck Teferi right away. But I don't think that's really reasonable. Okay. That was a case of 2-for-1s being too much. Wandering Emperor, are you interesting to me? You are a flash threat. Like, leaving up mana and deploying a threat is nice. That's in my maybe pile. So is Supreme Verdict. Like, boarding in Supreme Verdict acknowledges the possibility of them having a creature in play, which my primary goal is to not let them do that. I think in a deck with 4 Narset, I do want to leave some number of plows in. Normally, for the same reason I'm not super considering Supreme Verdict. All right, yeah, I'm actually going to board a Verdict out, which definitely disqualifies the one I was maybe bringing in. Okay, I have 3 direct hate cards, 1 combo hate piece, and 1 flash threat. I'm leaving in the plows because if they try to cheese early with just like Chancellor of the Annex or some garbage, or if they go for like Archon of Cruelty, then Plow is actually really good against those, and the Narset makes it reasonable against Grizzlebrand as well. Yeah, I'm doing this. I think this is as good as it gets. A double force, double blue card. I'm gonna keep. I am gonna ponder though, and try to look for a surgical or something a little cleaner. Because like we saw last game, 2-for-1ing yourself is only a plan for so long, and then you have no cards in your hand and you lose. Opponent's on a mull to 5. No Chancellor, but they usually board some of those out on the draw. Okay. I'm going to put the extra blue card in my hand, so I'm still holding up double force, double blue card. And now Narset actually reloads on the tail end of this. If I have to use both forces, then Narset's gone. But Wandering Emperor. Alright. Unmask, targeting themselves. Okay. I think I have to fight over this. Yeah, they mulled to 5 and then 2-for-1 themselves to discard a card. That's not an opponent. That's not a play somebody makes who has a lot of options. And I am going to shuffle my deck before I draw. I don't actually want this Prismatic Vista that's on top right now. I would like to find a blue card. Nice. All right. Teferi is certainly a blue card. But I'm going with Narset. I need to refill my hand here. Probably should have fetched Tundra off that Scalding Tarn. I was giving like some small amount of respect to... Oh, okay. I could... Yeah, it's just Grafdigger's Cage. Okay. Good luck, have fun. I was giving some small amount of respect to Magus of the Moon, which is a pivot these decks sometimes have, but I probably shouldn't. I should have just made sure I can cast the spells that exist in my hand currently. Alright, never punished. Dress down, Shark Typhoon, Narset. I think I want the dress down. Then I can play Cage right now, and I'm just gonna pass. Like, I can hold up Hardcast Force of Negation for a turn, and like I think it's pretty safe to jam Teferi there. I have Force Blue card anyway, but we're at a pace of the game where I think I really can't afford to just take my time. I wouldn't fault anyone for jamming Teferi there, though. I just think it's unnecessary. Nice. Opponent agrees that they're dead. And nothing changes about this deck. We're right back in. Same 60. Yikes. Opponent kept 7. I have Force Blue card, and I can answer a creature that ends up in play. I don't like this hand. This is the worst hand that I would keep. This crumbles to basically any disruption. If they do cast a Zoom, though, I could cycle Timeless Dragon in response. Unmask targeting me. Pitching Dark Ritual. Well, I can 2-for-1 the Unmask, which hides the information, but it costs me 2 cards. Alright, I'm going to let this resolve, and just, if they have it, they have it. Because if I force this, and they don't go off all right now, then I've lost my blue card to draw another force with. Looting, okay. Time to draw Grafdigger's Cage. 2 Grizzled Barons in the graveyard. Cage? Oh my god, it's even worse. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Thanks, deck. Needed that. Yeah, Surgical's fucked up, because if they cast Exhume, this actually gets both of their things. Dark Ritual. Reanimate. Surgical Extraction right off the top. Their hand is Polluted Delta. And their deck is 3 Entombs, 2 Lootings, Chancellor, Grief. Chancellor, Grief. Are they really on like an exclusively Grizzlebrand plan here? Their deck only contains Chancellors and Griefs. Okay. And their hand is Polluted Delta. Chancellor and Grief both died to Tundra. Faithless Looting. Yeah, that's smart. They're using their mana however they can. They did find a Chancellor, and they discarded the Polluted Delta that I saw. Okay, I can cycle Timeless Dragon. I have to be careful with that, though, because they can reanimate my Timeless Dragon. I guess that doesn't matter, because that's still smaller and worse than Chancellor the Annex. But I have Plow set up for that. Now if they Exhume, I get a 4/4. Ooh. Alright, well, I'm feeling good about this match. I'll say that. Even feeling good enough to just dragon up this turn. Okay, deck, that's enough Swords to Plowshares, but I think we're good. 4/4 creature. Win condition established. I didn't check their deck for Cabal therapies. If they do have therapy and name Plow, they're going to be in for a good time. But they still have to get a Chancellor into play through my Surgical. Alright, they're thought seizing me. I'm actually going to just Surgical in response. And then they have to win the game with the 1 Grief in their deck. Alright, just double check this. Yeah, no Cabal therapy. Literally a Grief in their deck. Oh, they drew 2 Chancellors also. Jesus. The old Hymn to Turok and also Sadistic Sacrament. Even if they somehow deploy Grief next turn, they're just straight up losing the race. Yeah, that was a really tight build of Reanimator, just not goofing around with anything. It was just bet on Grizzlebrand. I'm not sure if that's new technology or old technology or what, but it was weird that there was no Archon or Sarah's Emissary or any of those alternate things that Reanimator usually packs. Yeah, 2 Surgicals, and they just can't win the game anymore. On to the next round. Opponent revealed Yorion, probably Death and Taxes. I'm going to keep this hand. Finding a basic Plains is going to be a priority. I do have one. I guess I play more islands than plains, so I can lead on Tundra and cast Ponder, trying to hit land drops. And hopefully, if they just waste me, oh yikes, shuffle that. Being on the play lets me take a little bit of risk, or if they just waste me, we can just play turn 1 over again and I can dig for lands again. But if they have nothing, oh, I think I am going to pass the turn. Like, Ponder is the only card I could hit off the Brainstorm that I'd want to cast right now. And knowing if I need this Force of Negation or the Force of Will, or if I can just dump my hand file, I'm going to Brainstorm in response to that. And that'll let me know what the rest of this game's going to look like. Okay, I found some lands. Force of Negation's not going to find another target. I can put land Force of Will back on top of the deck. Force of Will, land. I want to draw the land. I'm going to Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. A Force of Negation is not going to find a better target in this matchup than Aether Vial. I can save Prismatic Ending for a creature and just jam Narset free and clear this turn. Get basic plains and basic island. I think as long as white mana is set up, I'm going to feel good here. And having another Flooded Strand chilling. My mana's good. Let's load up on spells. Swords of Plowshares or Ponder. I'm already holding one removal spell. Their deck is all creatures. I think I would rather take the Ponder and start moving towards the end game. Just like furiously shred for Days Undoing at this point. Or Mentor. Cyclave Apparition, you got it. There goes that one. Narset. I'm gonna Ponder first. See where that goes. Shark Typhoon, Days Undoing. Well, there's Days Undoing. How do I queue this up? Put back Typhoon, draw Days Undoing, don't shuffle the library. I could just slam Narset here and hope they don't have another Skyclave Apparition. I think that's reasonable. I'm just going to lean in on Tundras. They don't have a Wasteland yet. They can't play 2 Wastelands in a turn with their deck. Okay, I'm just going to keep the Narsets coming. If they can remove this one, then good job. I have another. If they can't remove this one, I just jam Days Undoing. What I'm most worried about right now is Spirit of the Lab. Ooh, Sanctum Prelate. Gonna name 1 or 3? 3, okay, good call. Yeah, that turns off the Narset and Days Undoing and Prismatic Ending. Shit. No, it doesn't turn off Prismatic Ending, but I don't have red mana right now. All right, that was a good one of to have. Come on, Swords to Plowshares. Okay, Brainstorm. Move this around. All right, found Swords to Plowshares, but not the land to go with it. If I put back Prismatic Ending and Force of Will, does that make sense? Put back Prismatic Ending and Force. Yeah, I can force pitching Brainstorm. Or I could put back, like, force pitching Force is actually kind of where I want to be here. And I'm going to put back Prismatic Ending and Brainstorm in that order. And I will pass the turn. I'm hoping that they get pushy in combat and I can plow the Apparition and then eat the Prelate with the token. Yeah, they didn't fall for that. I actually need to kill Prelate and not Apparition. So that's dead. Didn't fall for it. That was a good attack. Spirit of the Labyrinth. Okay. Brainstorm is the top card in my deck. I actually do. I'm just going to force this thing and try to move the game forward. They have another one. Okay. No, Stoneforge Mystic. Stoneforge Mystic is kind of beatable. Maybe. Cauldra. I am required to plow the Sanctum Prelate, or else my hand doesn't function. And I can Brainstorm into the Prismatic Ending and take out Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, and tuck Days Undoing and Narset on top. And Prismatic Ending, the Mystic, Jace, and Shark Typhoon are both pretty strong cards against Death and Taxes. Yeah, they've done a good job buying a lot of time here. And if the best thing they can do with their mana is equip Jete right now, cast and equip Jete, then I'm having a good time. I can use Jace to bounce their Apparition. Apparition will come down and re-eat Jace, but at least the board is stable. And I'm really just moving towards this combo kill. Not the sexiest Jace activation you've ever seen, but it's okay. There's a plan. Yep, you're back. I'm drawing Days Undoing. I can play Narset, who gets to look, and finding Swords to Plowshares would be huge, because then they're stuck behind the Narset, and they don't even have the luxury of worrying about Days Undoing. Come on, Plow. Force Negation. Not really what I'm looking for. But we are getting closer to... That does stop Swords to Plowshares from clearing my blocker. Like, if they just re-equip and attack, I chump block and then Days Undoing. Flicker Wisp. Fuck. Okay, they need a land to finish off Narset still, which they haven't had for several turns. They had the Sandbag Caracas. Okay, they get to kill Narset. Fuck, they're just narrowly squeezing past all of my interaction, and they're playing very well. I'm not tilted, not complaining. This is what their deck's supposed to do. Finding Force of Negation instead of Force of Will, not finding a white card. There was just a lot of sad variance in the wrong direction on that last turn cycle. And now 3 of my 4 Narsets are dead. So this Days Undoing's getting worse by the moment. Yeah, the GTA is actually really good at this point. Investing in that was smart. Shark Typhoon's not even big enough to fight through GTA. Is this just like a fuck it Days Undoing situation? I don't think so. I think there's still more game to play there. If they spend their GTA counters answering Shark Typhoon, then those are counters that aren't shredding my face. I think I should make a 2/2. That lets me still cast Swords to Plowshares if I draw it, and demands more than one GTA counter. Prismatic Ending. Okay. We're headed in the right direction. Killed my shark. Are they going to push for damage or stack up counters? They're pushing damage. Okay. A Supreme Verdict is still good here. I got cards to cast. Supreme Verdict. Let's go. I think exiling Apparition or Jite. Oh, that's getting a 4/4 is nice, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 4/4, I think Jite is actually killing me here. Use the Thalia trick. You can cast Prismatic Ending on curve by announcing it for X equals 0. Thalia makes it cost 1 more. You pay a different color. Don't pay 3 mana for a ending for 2. Yeah, if this Force of Negation was Force of Will, we would have won this game 4 turns ago. But that's what happens when you have polarizing cards in your deck. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. That's kind of the whole thing. Oh, I was at 7. I was just dead. I don't know why I thought I had another draw step, but yeah. 7 minus 7 is dead. Okay. Kozilek's Return, Supreme Verdict, Meltdown, Wandering Emperor, Savine's Reclamation. Just bringing anything that is like a scrappy 2-for-1 or better. Force of Negation can come out. Monastery Mentor, huge in this matchup. Some of my Force of Wills can come out. I do like having a few. Jace is fine. Shark Typhoon is pretty good. Timeless Dragon's pretty good. Hitting land drops really important to the matchup. Plow is important. Sometimes I like Blood Moon versus Death and Taxes, but I don't think this is one of those situations. They're a mono white deck, but they have like Urza's Saga and Rishadan Port and Wasteland and Iganjo and just all these other lands. Kind of looking at Teferi as something I can cut. Like, it's nice that he interacts with the board, gives me Supreme Verdict, but I don't really need to shut down their instants. And maybe I'll go down to 1 Force of Will and hope they don't play Cataclysm. Let's go. Ooh, the 1 lander, I can't keep this. I know better. Yeah, this deck is very good at hitting its land drops, and I'm going to do that. This hand is not exactly sexy, but I'm hoping my opponent gives me a chance to gear up here. Vial, with different art than the Vial we saw game 1. Not that that matters in the grand scheme of Magic the Gathering, just in case it becomes relevant with like Teferi or something, bouncing a permanent. They do have permanents with different arts in the same name. Ooh. Maybe I should have kept that Meltdown hand. Swords to Plowshares, always happy to see that one. I can just slam my Mentor right now and hope. And it's just slamming straight into their Swords to Plowshares, but I honestly don't think that's the worst thing right now. Just kind of make them have the plow, and if they were planning on some sort of Mother of Runes prison game, this is the type of thing that can go around it. All right, they had it immediately. It's fine. Not a huge deal. Putting them to the test, I'm not going to feel bad about. And now we get to see how the Wandering Emperor plays against Death and Taxes. They just put Yorion in their hand. Okay. They either have nothing or they're totally rolled up on their Aether Vials. If they had Thalia, it would be in play already. I'm just going to pass with my Emperor. She has Flash, and she can use her loyalty abilities if she entered the battlefield this turn. If they sandbag to Thalia somehow, then good job. You got me. I don't suspect that's going to be the case, though. Yeah, that's much more likely. I guess I'm casting Swords to Plowshares. Sorry, Wandering Emperor. Maybe next time. I could have let them put in Kaldra, flash in Emperor, or exile the token, but with Vial on 3 and 2, this is just so many options. They could just Violent Flicker Wisp, reset their Kaldra. And this is, yeah, it is exile target tap creature, so that does work. But it's tapped creature, not tap permanent. Yeah, that's a short-term fix where getting rid of the Mystic is a longer one. Okay, they have Yorion Kaldra, 3 mystery cards. I am still of the opinion that Wandering Emperor is better than Narset here. I would like to be present on the board before I just jam a Planeswalker into nothing. Okay, they're getting tricky with their vials. Just activating Trick Vials. Seeing if I have Containment Priest or something. Cathar Commando. Okay. Vials up to 4. They are racing up to the Yorion. I'm just going to take 3 here. I don't want to give them main phase options to fight over my Emperor. Timeless Dragon. Okay. That's scary. In the end step, Wandering Emperor. And I think I just exile their Commando. Taking a Samurai. Ugh. Neither of these options are good. Okay, they have given up on their Vial for 2, so I don't have to worry about... They have 1 unknown card in their hand right now. I'm going to Narset first, and then keep the option of Brainstorming. Looking for Plow in all the right places. Prismatic Ending, not quite. Still looking for Plow. Brainstorm. Swords to Plowshares. Yes! Okay. Prismatic Ending the Vial on 4 before Yorion becomes a freebie. And I will put a +1 counter on no creatures. And I'm not going to Plow yet. I'm going to let this Vial go up to 4 and take Flicker Wisp out of the equation, and then I'll Plow the Dragon. Now their hand is Yorion, Kaldra, 2 mystery cards. Rashad and Port can keep me off red. They're also 1 mana short of casting Kaldra, but next turn I can exile it. Oh no, I can't. This is only an instant speed Planeswalker the turn she's cast. Do they want to just deploy Yorion, or are they going to show me this last card in their hand? My top card is Ponder, and there's a Brainstorm under it, so Narset's guaranteed to hit. Okay, Yorion is here. That tells me that the last card in their hand is not actually a good one. If they had anything else to do with their mana or the Vial, they would not have just jammed a basically naked, no value Yorion. Right, Narset, let's go. Finds Teferi. I do like Teferi. Teferi, send the Yorion. Prismatic Ending might be good. Ponder, backup Narset. Yeah, I like the backup Narset and the Ponder that's under it. Gonna make a Samurai, and if they do draw the land for Kaldra, I can exile Kaldra, or the Germ token. If they just replay Yorion, that's great. Next turn I have an actual attacker. 3/3 first strike. Yorion is the biggest thing in play, though. Just even if they just recast their Yorion, that's still a real threat. And none of my things currently answer it. Timeless Dragon, okay. Okay, blue deck, help me out here. Ponder. Vista Verdict. Yes. Do not shuffle Supreme Verdict. Just phenomenal magic card. And I am just going to pass the turn. If they draw the land and jam the Cauldron right now, then I'm going to lose whichever planeswalker they're most afraid of, because ending Cauldron, I think, is more important to me than verdicting Dragon. If they attack Narset, I'll just let it die. But I don't think that's where their attack's going to go. Yeah, Emperor. They can eternalize the Dragon, so this is only a temporary answer, but time is what I need. Looking for Days Undoing. Here's Thalia, which they did not violin, so they have another 2-drop. Or they want me to think they have another 2-drop. Yorion Cauldron mystery card in the hand right now. Plus Teferi. Okay, this does not have a mana cost, so I can Prismatic Ending it. Had to check the very specific wording of that card. Could also just roast Thalia. So Thalia I can block with my Samurai token. I'm gonna shuffle. There is 1 basic left in my deck. Yep. 1 basic left. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Narset. The new one, Activator. Jace. I do like Jace. Probably more than Ponder. Prismatic Ending the Timeless Dragon. Does not have a mana cost explicitly in the rules text. Then make a 2/2 that can chump block Thalia. It's treading water. Somebody's looking for a way to break open this game, and whoever finds it first is going to do well. The Vial continues to chill on 2. Flicker Wisp, okay, that can clear my token, and then they can kill whichever planeswalker. They can kill Wandering Emperor outright, or they can soften up Narset or Teferi. And Rishadan Port is up this turn. Yeah, killing the Emperor makes sense. Porting a white source, okay. You're a white source. Come on, Narset. Back up to Teferi, not bad. Prismatic Ending, phenomenal. Prismatic Ending can clear the Vial. I'm just trying to make room for Jace here. Okay, I'm going to take Prismatic Ending. I can bounce Vial, or I could bounce Thalia, but if I bounce Thalia, then... Okay, I'm going to exile Vial, see what comes out of it, if anything. Unfortunately, there is no Thalia trick on a 1-drop. I can't announce it for 0 mana and pay a white. If they have been sandbagging Spirit of the Lab, I'll bounce that with Teferi, get a redraw. Alright, they have been doing that. What I was worried about? Teferi, get Spirit out of here. Oh yeah. Always had it. And Jace plus isn't enough. Gotta figure out how to dance around all of this now. Spirit of the Labyrinth, Cauldron, Yorion is their hand. Yep, Thalia is the difference between having to figure it out for another turn or just being dead on the spot. I think I just passed the turn here. Yeah, the Rishadan Port also... Yeah, all of the mana pinching still relevant on turn 10 of the game. Good stuff. Okay. They pointed Thalia at Narset, and I think it makes sense to at least play to my out of Days Undoing here and kill Thalia, keep my Narset. I'm a little worried about the Spirit in their hand. It lines up extremely well against the Jace that they know I have because they saw it earlier. Yep, there's Spirit. Mother. Okay, it's time to draw a Supreme Verdict deck. Let's go. Verdict. Kozilek's Return. They're still attacking white sources. They could take me off red. That's actually a pretty reasonable one. And don't talk to me about hard casting Shark Typhoon. I'm not going to do it. They can jam Cauldron here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I'm at 1 on board if they want to attack with everything. I'm dead if they attack with Mother of Runes, as far as they know. That would be a crazy attack. They've played this game so careful otherwise. I guess I should leave up a white in case I draw Plow. A 4/4 is the same as a 5/5 on this board. Dress down, that's a good one. Block Spirit of the Labyrinth. Forces the Mother to commit. Hey deck, how about one of those Supreme Verdicts or Kozilek's Returns that I've filled my deck with? Maybe. Just a thought. Okay, that did not happen. I can dress down and try to spike. I think that's what I have to do. Dress down. Because that turns off Spirit for the turn, which is what I need to happen. Brainstorm. Let's go. Find me the Wrath. Jeez. I'm at 4. I can put back Jace and Timeless Dragon. Scalding Tarn, fetch. I'm still looking for a sweeper here. Gonna get Tundra. Brainstorm. Come on now. Thank you. I can put back Volcanic Island and Teferi. And then attack for 4 and cast Supreme Verdict. I don't think I'm supposed to ponder this turn. I know they have Yorion, which can flicker the Cauldra, but that's not until next turn. Teferi can bounce Cauldra, and then between the Teferi draw and the Ponder, I can rebuy for answers to Yorion. There's Yorion. And by bounce the Cauldra with Teferi, I mean bounce the Germ. Putting Cauldra in their hand doesn't help because they can just cast it. They're porting, still going after white instead of red. At this point, I think they're probably right to do that. I'm actually going to tap my red, bounce the Germ token, and ponder, Moment of Truth. Truth, baby. Not shuffle the library. Towards the Plowshares. Pass the turn. Okay. Okay. We've achieved stability. 8 minutes left on the clock. Jace on top of the deck with Supreme Verdict under it. Lots of mana. It's about winning the game fast now. Apparition is good. That takes Teferi. Unless they're worried about Narset going Days Undoing. How do I actually win the game, though? My clock is a huge concern right now. Okay, Jace. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brainstorm. I know Supreme Verdict is there. Backup Jace is there. I can hold on to Supreme Verdict and just ending this thing instead. Red, blue, white. And F6. Race is on. Clock race. If they draw a 1-drop, I'm actually in some amount of trouble because they can equip their Cauldra. I need to start plussing. Like, that's the only way I can actually win this game. They have 8 mana. No, you can keep Thalia. I hope they haven't been sandbagging a land. Not attacking. That's not the win con. 1 mystery card in their hand. It was a land. I guess we're dead. 7. Yeah, I knew that was possible, but just wanted to make that bet. Maybe I'm supposed to brainstorm. Like, panicking over the clock is a problem. In real life, I would have just been brainstorming. Yeah, tough match. Death and Taxes is really good against control. They're also a control deck, and they have all these tools, all these cool ways to pinch your mana, pinch your answers. If a Death and Taxes opponent who plays well is really difficult to beat with a blue deck like this, you really want like Plague Engineers or Witherbloom Command or Life from the Loam, something to really just shut off one or more of their engines. And this deck doesn't have that. You're just in a constant state of just like churning for Swords to Plowshares and hoping they don't have Spirit of the Lab. Tough match. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. Yeah, in that last round, I definitely should have bottomed Thalia because any card that would be in their hand, they would have cast. Like, the only things that could have been in their hand were like Swords to Plowshares or a land. And bottom Thalia, like I said, I would have just been brainstorming in real life, but Moto Clock pressure had to win a game 3. I would like to play first against Storm Guy Is Me. Storm Guy Is Me, I played against them the other day in the queues. They were on Reanimator, but they're always on combo. I'm not going to keep this hand. It got worse. I could keep this one and hope to... Alright, I'm going to keep this one and try to ponder into a force. Alright, play 6 forces. Just give me one of them. I don't want to go to 5 and then just, like, be wrong in their doomsday. Look at this shit. Imagine if I went to 5 looking for Force of Will and they're just like, I'm Delver. Surprise. Ponder. I think I want Narset regardless. And then I can use this Flooded Strand to decide if I want Prismatic Ending or not. Like if they play Dragon's Rage Channeler right now, I'm going to keep the ending if they indicate that this is like Storm or Show and Tell instead. Okay, definitely Delver. No other deck plays Steam Vents. And I'm going to play Vista and pass the turn. I'm not going to jam Narset into Daze. Got lands. Let's use them. Jace is the top part of my deck. I don't want that. Iteration. Gonna get basic planes. Make sure that is set up. My mana is established. Ooh, had to go to discard. Dumping a Wasteland. Love to see it. Dumping Wasteland just in time for me to play my non-basic. Lightning Bolt can kill Narset. Maybe I'm not supposed to activate her for that reason. I'm gonna rely on my 1 basic planes, even though I do have Supreme Verdict right here in my hand. I'm gonna shuffle these cards. Back up Narset. Didn't just aggro Lightning Bolt. What is going on over there? Is this somehow not Delver? Definitely Delver. Yeah, Steam Vents and Chain Lightning. Okay, but kept some sort of creatureless hand. Yeah, I think the next Narset's just going to stay at 5. But if they haven't cast any creatures for the whole game, then what is their hand? And presumably it's Lightning Bolts. Land? Ooh, Teferi's pretty dope. Teferi. That one's worth a Force of Will. I think I will just accept my 2 for 1 on this one. The Dress Down is not very good in the matchup. Yeah, I'll pitch the Dress Down. If that was like a card with any text at all, I would have just accepted my 2 for 1. Maybe I'm supposed to plus Teferi and use Prismatic Ending on the Channeler, but treading water on creatures when I have Supreme Verdict in my hand, you get opportunities like this one. I'm gonna look at the top card with Delver. Got a little information before I sweep this up. Oh, Force of Will. That card's usually pretty good, but not today. I'm just gonna Verdict before they can get any value off DRC. That was a weird game. They just like had so many cards in their hand. They even went to discard on turn 3 and just didn't cast a creature until turn 4. Weird. Okay, Delver. Storm Guy is me, juked us. Pyroblast. I actually don't like Kozilek's Return against Delver. It only hits unflipped, or it hits Delver whether it's flipped or unflipped, and only hits non-delirious DRCs, doesn't interact with Murktide. Until they show me more, I don't want Kozilek's Return. Like if they show me Brazen Borrower or something, maybe I'll think about it. But even then, this pile of Red Blast is kind of where I want to be. I think I can go to 0 force against them because I have so many Red Blasts. The cards I'd be worried about post-board are like Narset and Court of Cunning, all of which get answered here. Zavine's Reclamation is actually pretty good in this matchup too. That lets me jam my powerful spells early, let them trade off, and then eventually I have this 3 or more for 1 in Zavine's Rec, just ticking away in my deck somewhere. Yeah, I think Zavine's Rec is better than a second Jace. The 4-mana blue spell against the Daze Pyroblast Wasteland deck. 2 basic lands and a Route to More. Basically just getting my mana under me is goal number 1 and 2. Alright, if you're a Stifle deck, you got me. I'm not playing around Stifle in 2022. Where's the Plowshares, another land, all good stuff. And we can try to showcase the Timeless Dragon, uncounterable 4/4 mode. And they seem to want to play Draw Go against me again. Under, okay. I'm actually going to crack this Vista for Mountain and then cycle Timeless Dragon for a Plains. I think that is the way to set my mana up best. Basic Mountain, cycle Timeless Dragon, get basic Plains. And I guess I just want a Prismatic Ending, the Delver. There is some interest in like letting the Delver live and trying to catch 2 things under Supreme Verdict, but if they just play Discipline and like crack me for 6 with the Delver before demanding an answer later, a 1-for-1 answer, that sucks. Speaking of sucking, they exiled Days off that expressive iteration, didn't hit a land drop, and then passed. I think I'm just going Timeless Dragon. Yeah, they could jam Court of Cunning or something here, but I'm like Timeless Dragon on this particular board beats Court of Cunning and beats Narset, so I'm not even worried about the juke pieces. And if they pass the turn with 7 cards in hand without making a land drop, effectively 8 cards in hand, or 9 with like all the cards they looked at and exiled off of expressive iteration, then I'm not going to play into a counterspell. Pretty clearly what's going on. Prismatic Vista can get basic planes. Do I care about basic planes? Can just play Prismatic Vista and cast Teferi. Yeah, this lets me still plow if I need to, but I don't expect to need to do that. I'm just going to accept a 2-for-1 off Force of Will here. Force pitching Days, you got it. I don't think I attack. Delver flipping Days. As much as I hate Days in the early game, flipping Days in the late game makes me so happy. Okay, do you have another Force of Will? I hope that you do. I guess I should make my land drop first. Plow the Murktide Regent. Please force it, please force it. Okay, fine. And I'm still going to hold the fort here. Now that I actually have Red Blast, I'm even less worried about Narset and Court than I was before. And now I have the choice of, do I cycle Timeless Dragon to get another uncounterable 4/4 into play, or do I play the counterable 5/5 first? Add the Red Blast. Yeah, I'm just going to put the 5/5 on the stack. And the hits just keep coming. Yeah, okay. Double Dragon. And they've had enough. Look at that almost flawless victory. I'm at 18 and I cracked 2 fetches. The only damage dealt to me in a game with Delver was from myself. There's some achievement unlocked there. On the play in round 4 with a pretty well-rounded hand here. I'm going to keep. This does not have any cantrips, but it does interact early and with both force and removal. I like this setup. I'm going to lead on Vista. Flooded Strand. Okay. Volcanic Island Ponder. Well, let's do more of the same then. Land go. They did shuffle their Ponder. Brainstorm. Okay. Add the fetch land. What's next? Dragon's Rage Channeler. Delverino. Okay. I'm going to use Ending on that and save my plows for Murktide Regents if I am given the luxury. Ending resolved with no resistance. Duration to reload. Ooh, they got Mishra's Baubles. This is the full turbo strat. Targeting themselves with Bauble, which means they have the option to crack a fetch land or not here. It's time to draw a cantrip or a land, though. I would like to cast this Teferi and ignore Days. Okay. Ponder's a good one. Cast it off of Basic Island, looking for land drops here. Found one, kinda. And found Supreme Verdict. That's good. I'm actually not going to play my land because I do want Supreme Verdict and I do want to be able to cast it. And I don't want to turn on Wasteland. At least not when it's free. Like, I can wait a turn, cash out my Supreme Verdict, and then think about Wasteland. Do I even need Supreme Verdict? I could just shuffle, get another basic island here, get rid of that Supreme Verdict. My hand is plow. Yeah, maybe I don't need Verdict. At least not yet. And drawing lands is more important. I wish I had had all these thoughts while my Ponder was still resolving, but I think it comes to the same conclusion. Another land, DRC. Let me test the waters with this Swords to Plowshares, and then I can decide if I want to keep Supreme Verdict or not. Okay. I'm going to shuffle it away. Okay. Teferi. This is a 2-for-1 basically, no matter what, unless they have Spell Pierce in their deck. Like, if they force it, that's 2 cards. Force pitching Murktide Regent. Okay. If they let it resolve, I draw a card, they bolt it, that's 2 cards. Ooh, got the Mystic Sanctuary tech. Okay. Free by Expressive Iteration. Keep this party going. Gonna be a lot of looks at Wasteland. Yep, there's a Wasteland. I'm gonna float blue because I'm not gonna cast Plow into Days anyway. And if I can put them onto a different scent, then that's cool with me. It always sucks in the deck with 7 basics and 3 non-basics that we just naturally drew 2 non-basics. But sometimes that's a thing you gotta work through. Yeah, this Mystic Sanctuary turns Daze into a real card. Like, even if it doesn't counter my spell, it picks up Sanctuary, which can redeploy, remove, or getting back Expressive Iteration. Just turn Daze into Expressive Iteration over and over again. Some powerful magic. They shuffled their Ponder. Here's Delver. They have officially worn out my easy removal spells. Okay, cool. Don't think it's time to shove Jace. Let me see what they want to do with this Delver. Lightning Bolt revealed. Okay, that makes Jace a little worse. Iteration never stops. Maybe I can deck them. That was a joke. Sometimes it's not a joke when I say maybe I can deck them, but that time it definitely was. Okay, I'm gonna signal that I don't have Swords to Plowshares by just letting that die. And hope they commit to the Murktide. I don't actually lose the ability to cast Plow, but it might send the message that, like, that land was dying anyway, I'm never gonna have more mana than that. This is the time to go for Plow. Damn the Murktide. Let's go. I know you have it. Right, didn't fall for it. Land and pass. I will Plow the Delver this time. I don't want to take 6 from a Delver when I could stop it. Like, taking 3 when you're at 17 to represent a bluff is one thing, but taking 6 when you know they have Lightning Bolt in their hand starts to get a little reckless. Teferi was a good draw. They could hardcast Force and Negation. That would be disappointing. Oh, Teferi's just in there. Fuck yeah. I think they correctly identified that picking it off with Lightning Bolt and just redeploying makes more sense than not doing that. DRC. I'll let them get their Surveil off. Do I want to Brainstorm? Like, Jace and Force of Will are not great cards here. Yeah, I'll Brainstorm in response while I know it's good. Right, Plow, great. Land, good. Jace and Force are both less good. Jace and Force. Do I want Mountain? Is Mountain better than Jace? Jace, I'm going to need to recoup this game somehow, so I think I need to hold on to the Jace. And I'm going to cast Swords to Plowshares right now while I know it resolves. Just trying to flush out the Murktides. Like, I know they have them, and they're doing a really good job working through my removal. Luckily for me, and unfortunately for them, I have an outrageous amount of removal in the deck. Like, they're probably counting endings and plows, but I'm over here with multiple Supreme Verdicts in my main. It's a good one as well. I actually need cards more than I need to play around Lightning Bolt right now. Found Ponder, Brainstorm. Oh, Timeless Dragon I actually like. Okay, I'm going to put Brainstorm in my hand and Timeless Dragon's under it. They Lightning Bolt me, that's another 2-for-1. I got to recoup all the 2-for-1s they've gotten off of iterations over the game. They've spent 2 of their Lightning Bolts already, so they can't bolt me out. Or they've actually... No, the Chain Lightning was the last opponent. Okay. Just remembered a Chain Lightning was cast against me. Alright, Daddy Marco. Got 2 of them. I knew the Timeless Dragon was there. There are only 2 basic planes in the deck. And my Tundras are both wasted already. Oh, I'm actually out of planes. That sucks. That makes that card a lot worse. Okay, I think I just have to Verdict. Yeah, let's just splat this one. I expect them to have another one. Brainstorm's my top card. It's not even good right now. That's a snow-covered island with the crazy secret lair pixel art. Another iteration. Iteration, hit iteration on the exile mode, so they're just going all the way in right now. Exiled a Delver. Okay, found a Delver. Is it time for an awkward end step Brainstorm? No, I think I'd rather just draw and cast it then. Okay, Supreme Verdict is good. Dress Down is not good. Okay, I'm going to put back Dress Down and Brainstorm, or Jace and Dress Down. I think that's better. And I'm going to play Narset. Clear those bad cards. Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, nope. Let's count Dazes. They have not played any Dazes yet this game. Yeah, I'm not going to turn on Daze, especially in a board state where they have Mystic Sanctuary. Like, if I lose Narset here... Okay, cool. Delver didn't flip. They're going to have to spend a Bolt if they want to kill Narset. And showing them Prismatic Ending may convince them they need to push harder. And who plays 2 main deck Supreme Verdicts? No way I have 2, right? There are 3 Murktide Regents still in the deck. We've gone through 2 Dragon's Rage Channelers, 3 Lightning Bolts. This is the 3rd Delver. There are a lot of win conditions left in this deck. And I've used 1, 2, 3 of my plows. 1, 2 of my endings are accounted for. 1 of my Supreme Verdicts is spent already. If they play Murktide, I'm probably going to Verdict. If they don't, I'm going to try to clean this up 1 for 1 with Ending or Cantrip into Plows or Teferis. There's 1 Teferi left in my deck. 1 Teferi, 2 Narset, the Day's Undoing still in there. All my Shark Typhoons are still in there. This Timeless Dragon's super awkward. I wish I had done a Plains count before I decided to keep that Ponder. Eventually it'll be a 5/5 creature, but until that point, it's kind of shitty. Okay, Murko. There's Undoing. I'm gonna Brainstorm, because I can still cast Verdict. I don't have to think about Days right now. Okay, Narset, Undoing are now in my hand. I think I want to send back Timeless Dragon, and there's a Volcanic Island that can still be fetched with this Flooded Strand, and that's it. I'm going to put Prismatic Ending on top. I am likely to want that eventually. Verdict. Yeah, they Dazed picking up their Mystic Sanctuary. That was the play that I warned us about long ago. Glad I played around Daze, by the way, last turn. Sanctuary picking up EI again, another Delver. Prismatic Ending is still on top of my deck. End this. Cast Narset. Must have Force. Oh, main deck Pyroblast, you sicko. Okay. Alright, that's tough. Okay, my top card is Timeless Dragon, and now I'm in a spot where I can actually cast it and play around Daze. Iteration. Exiling Mr. Rainforest. Are there lands left in your deck to fetch? Maybe. Okay, Timeless Dragon. Let's go. The first half, 5/5 mode. You can't Force of Negation this. Force of Will's a 2 for 1. I have the land to play around Daze. Oh, there's a basic left also. That's lucky. I'll use that one. The Daze does rebuy the Sanctuary again. Alright, but my 5/5 is in play. And partnering it up with this Shark Typhoon makes for a pretty big creature. Rebuying Iteration again. Maybe decking them is a real plan. I was joking earlier, but it's starting to become like a reasonable thing to consider. Brainstorm. Okay, good. Getting rid of Vista is good, because I am out of basics to fetch. There's no haste creatures in their deck these days, so I can get in with my Jargon. I can fetch the Volcanic Island and Shark for 4 and have them on a 2-turn clock. They just played Wasteland, so they're going to remove my Volcanic Island immediately. I have 1 Plow left, 1 Teferi left to answer Murktide Regent. They have 2 of those left. Oh, Brazen Borrower is a card in their deck. Good to know. Borrowing my Dragon. Okay. A 4/4 creature is pretty good against Brazen Borrower, I've heard. 4/4 creature. I own Force of Will. Interesting. And my last Plow. Okay. Redeploy Dragon. Is it time to force this? Nope. Okay, good. I'm actually just going to turtle up here. Like, if they can remove my Shark, if they have like a second Brazen Borrower, remove my Shark. Like, if I attack with Shark, they bounce Dragon, put me to 7. I don't know. I just... They are actually going to deck if this game goes on forever. And they're not showing me a way to win. And I can force and Plow Murktide Regents. I don't think I actually have to take any game actions right now. Holding up Hardcast Force on a Murktide gives me a lot of leverage as well. They're cantripping down to 7 cards in their deck. Yeah, decking them is actually just my plan right now. Channeler that has to attack into my wall of gigantic flying creatures. Guess I could Ending. Ending's not really getting better than this, but Ending lets me hardcast Force. Yeah, they have to like deal with 2 giant flyers or lose Delirium before this Dragon's Rage Channeler matters. I'm up on cards in deck, up on cards in hand, up on time on the clock. They have 2 Murktides left, and I have Force, Plow for the 2 remaining Murktides. My opponents cast 1 Force of Will this game and 2 Dazes. So 2 Dazes, 3 Forces are in their pile over there somewhere. I really don't want a Daze Undoing at this point because that puts all their cards back in their deck. I have noticed Control Mirrors decking out a lot more lately since Jeskai and Grixis became options. We're just not really even committed to the Endurance Life anymore. Oh, Jace also bounces Murktide, so I have a number of options to fight Murktide Regent right now. But they're forcing me back. Force pitching Daze, so they're not trying to reset their deck again. Wow, still milling with DRC, even knowing what we know. I'm going to force again. I am not interested in casting Daze Undoing this game, and my hand is just things that answer their cards. And if I can get their hand empty to stick the Jace, then life gets a lot easier. Okay, they dazed again, picking up the thing. The Sanctuary. That's all 4 dazes spent. They still have Delirium. They're still going to have to attack this DRC. Chain Lightning. Do they have 2 of those in their deck? Because... oh, right. The Mystic Sanctuary does it. Okay. Yeah, there's 1 bolt in their deck. 1 card in their hand. Oh, wow. All right. Their top card is Chain Lightning. Okay. I'm going to have to plow one of my own creatures to survive this game. Block. I can Jace and bottom the Chain Lightning. Yeah, they're currently Hellbent. Okay. I have a plan. Jace. Okay, they've conceded to that. Nice. Yeah, plowing my own creature. Yeah, the Mystic Sanctuary rebuying the 5th Lightning Bolt was a play that I didn't have on my radar, but remember that turn where I said taking 3 from Delver for a bluff is okay, but taking 6 is too much? We just won that game at 3 life. That happened like 10 turns after I said that. Gotta know your limits. Life total's a resource for some amount of time, and then it becomes a liability. Right, we've seen this. I just played the same matchup. I think I'm gonna just go with the same plan again, which is Jace, all forces, and Dress Down out. Just add a Supreme Verdict and a bunch of spot removal for Murktide. Yeah, this makes sense to me. I'm not bringing in Surgical Extraction or Blood Moon out of respect for Mystic Sanctuary. I don't really think it's that important. And that's obviously a powerful engine, but if they can't inflict damage to my life points, it doesn't matter. Okay, bunch of basic lands and removal spells I'm keeping. Channeler, Bauble, coming out blazing here. Build a second Channeler. Almost Delirious on turn 1. I'm going to play Vista and pass. It's possible some number of dazes are out of the deck, but I'm still going to play around it where I can. Don't keep these beautiful hands full of basic lands and then just lose because you played into daze. If I had 2 Prismatic Endings, I might have considered playing one of them, because setting them back the land stops them from going wide. But if my ending gets dazed and I have to spend Plow on DRC, that's an answer that I don't have for Murktide Regent later, or don't have at instant speed later. DRC is Delirious. Brainstorm, going into Super Delirium. What if Super Delirium was a thing, and if you have 8 card types in your graveyard, it gets another +2/+2 and super flying, and can attack twice per combat? I believe there only are 8 card types in Magic, so that should be worth something. I could crack my fetch to hide this information, but it's not actually worth, like, playing my game correctly is worth more to me than, like, weirdly hiding information. Fired off a Brainstorm in response, get 1 more Surveil for the road. They kept that card on top. Okay, that creature's gone. Yeah, if they like Murktide with Force back up here, that's actually pretty scary. I need to draw another Plow or a Red Blast. Something else to pressure the Murktide right now. It's going to main phase this. It turns on Force of Negation, but if they untap, they can hardcast it. I can cycle Timeless Dragon in the end step to escape and get a 4/4, or Eternalize, whatever this particular version of comes back from the graveyard is. I wonder if they have a second Regent. Like, they were pretty quick to jam that first one with no protection. They did not shuffle. I'm gonna get Island and cycle for basic planes. And just put 4/4 creature into play. Ooh, Teferi is kind of a thing that I would consider doing instead of eternalizing, but yeah, just 4/4 creature on an empty board. Big fan of that. And this checks Court, it checks Narset. I really like the way this lines up against the things that this deck tries to do against you. I don't like jamming into Red Blast. I also don't like casting Mentor without a spell I can cast right away. Like if I draw a Ponder, I'm going to play Mentor and... Oh, do they have Brazen Bee? Or are they just getting their shock landed? Okay, good. Yeah, like playing Mentor and just getting it bolted without even a monk to show for it is really shitty. Okay, now I can show Teferi for it. I can attack with my dragon, fetch, get a basic island, and then play Mentor, and immediately play Teferi, get a monk out of this. Even if they counter Teferi, I'm pushing forward. So now they need like Lightning Bolt from Mentor, and Lightning Bolt from Monk, and Answer to Teferi. Daze, okay. And when you daze from behind, it doesn't feel nearly as bad as when they daze from ahead, and it didn't pick up a Mystic Sanctuary. I'm gonna just kind of slam Jace here. That lets me attack through the Delver, even if they counter it. And if they don't counter it, I'm just activating Jace. Pyroblast, you got it. Push. This attack might be a little aggressive, but I think it's reasonable. Yeah, just leaving back my 4/4 to block, but leaving back Delver to block. They're respecting the Monk token. In which case, I simply won't attack with it, and I'll get in with Timeless Dragon. I'm a long way away from losing this game, but I'm actually like a hair's breadth away from winning the game. They revealed Daze and shuffled it away immediately. That puts them to 4, which means a dragon attack is lethal. They have Delver to block. I can plow Delver and attack for 6. Mystic Sanctuary is picking up, what, Ponder or Lightning Bolt? Or Pyroblast? Lightning Bolt, okay. Lightning Bolt's on top of this deck. Court of Cunning. Okay, I'm going to plow in response. That plow might have been a little proactive. There's no reason to not just wait till the end step. Now they know they need to... Like, if their hand is just 2 bolts, they know to pick off. Okay, good. All right, not punished, but there's no reason not to wait until the Monarch triggers on the stack, then cast your plow. But yeah, Timeless Dragon just bricked this Court of Cunning. I wonder how long that's been in their hand. That was pretty awesome. On to the next round. On the draw for the final round. Bread and butter 4-1 at stake. I'm going to keep this. If they're a combo deck, we're in trouble. If they're a fair deck, this hand's mostly fine. Island Ponder. You gotta live for something. Opponent's on 5, and... Oh. Is this 4 Horsemen? What deck plays City of Traders Mesmeric Orb? Oh, it's probably... No, it's not 4 Horsemen. It's one of the normal decks. I got so excited because I'm a fucking casual with this website of mine, or this channel. I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's what they're doing. No, they're not. Shut up. They're on just like a normal Mystic Forge deck. And I would have cantripped for a force, but I drew one anyway. And I can Prismatic Ending the Mesmeric Orb next turn, force a Mystic Forge or whatever I need to this turn. Yep, there's that. Force of Negation, exiling Jace the Mind Sculptor. Jace is probably just going to be a little slow for this matchup. And I'm going to hope that clipping the Mesmeric Orb is enough. Fetch an island. White, blue. Zap. Okay, please be out of gas. They had another orb. That's not the part of the combo I was scared of. Okay, they don't have another land. Milling myself kind of sucks. I am not playing an Uro deck, or really any deck that is excited for that to happen to it. I'm gonna brainstorm. Swords to Plowshares not important. Plains not important. Land. And okay, I have Force of Will. As long as my Days Undoing doesn't get milled, it's not a huge deal, but Mesmeric Orb on the fair plan is like weirdly annoying against my deck. I'm not gonna fight over Voltaic Keys. I'm gonna fight over exclusively Mystic Forges or Echoes. Alright, my top card is the Plow. That can get milled. Or the Plains. And I'll shuffle away the Plow. I should have stacked that the other way if I was thinking better. Dark Typhoon, Ponder. Plow, Narset. Okay, yeah, Narset is a card that I want. Do not shuffle my library. I'm willing to lean in on the orb to try to find Days Undoing here. Very okay. 4 cards of mine will get milled this turn. Just please don't be Days Undoing. I don't have a Mystic Sanctuary or a Snapcaster Mage or anything that could rebuy those things from Monolith. Okay, they can do a lot of shredding through their own deck at this point with Monolith and Key, multiple keys. Yeah, they can just aggro mill themselves, but Narset makes Echo of Eons not a thing that you actually want. 1 card left in hand over there, and 1 Force of Will in mine. They've taken a lot of damage from their Ancient Tomb as well. I think that there's a good chance Shark Typhoon can just win this game. Timeless Dragon in the graveyard. Okay, I do have things that care about being milled. Great. 2 Timeless Dragons just hit the bin. Give me the Days Undoing. Okay, Prismatic Ending. I'll take that. I think if I remove this orb, that's like the closest thing to a win condition they actually have right now. And I'm pretty well set up to win this game now. Okay, cool. That was pretty textbook. Counter the 1 card that matters out of the Glass Cannon deck. Got it. Handled. Savine's Wreck is cool against Mesmeric Orb. Meltdown is good against this whole deck. Grafdigger's Cage is good against... Well, I said these would never be in together, but here are Savine's Wreck and Grafdigger's Cage. Grafdigger's Cage stops you from casting spells from your library, which is what Mystic Forge does. Surgical Extraction might have some interest, but I don't think I want that. Swords to Plowshares, I think, has 0 targets. Maybe some Saga tokens, which means that I might want Blood Moon in the deck. They're a Saga deck. Flusterstorm's not going to have targets. Wandering Emperor is a flash threat. Oh, it's a way I can win the game without tapping lands more than once. Rest Down answers Saga. Verdict answers Saga. Ending answers all their permanents. Yeah, kind of a weird sideboard plan. Obviously, didn't build for this deck, but here we are. I'm in for this. This hand is not good. I have 6 forces. Let's keep a hand with 1 in it. Yeah, hell yeah. I would rather keep a 0-lander with force than a playable hand without it in this matchup. And this one does have 1 land. I'm going to ship the Days Undoing. Probably don't want that till later. I'm a little worried about Chalice of the Void, but drawing a land lets me ending a Chalice. City. What do you got? Is it Orb? Is it Defense Grid? Is it Chalice? Defense Grid. Okay, I think I should take the turn off. Try to hit my 2nd land drop. Exile Defense Grid. I have to brainstorm now because of grid. Land. Okay. Land Meltdown. This is actually huge. Okay. I can tuck Teferi and Oh, I can't tuck Prismatic Ending because if they cast Mesmeric Orb, I lose my Teferi. Or I lose my ending. I'm going to put Teferi and Force on top in that order. I'll pass the turn and hope I'm not dead right now. If they spend another turn investing in the future, I can pick off the grid and then be rolled up behind my forces again. Unfortunately, there's no land in my deck that I can fetch to melt, ending this turn and Meltdown next turn. Oh, are we just getting spun? All right, never mind. See you later, deck. Right, this hand, not great. Lost my Meltdown, lost my ending. See how far they can take it, though. Ancient Tomb. Manifold Key. Do they have a Forge? They have Karn, Scion. Okay. Taking a 5/5 construct. And they have Mesmeric Orb. Okay. They do have Savine's Wreck. So Mesmeric Orb has like weird anti-synergy. Or feeds me somehow. I don't really know how to say the words I'm trying to say. But yeah, it has that. I think this is a brainstorm situation. Like the defense grid is in the orb are both later problems. Prismatic Ending, that's a lot of that effect at this point. I can Narset next turn. I could end a key this turn. Yeah, that's actually probably good. If I put back basic planes, Force of Negation, because I'm just not going to fight over the defense grid. and then those two will get milled. And then I can exile the key right now, which makes Grim Monolith worse and Construct smaller. Dress Down that was in my hand would be pretty good here. They have another Echo. All right, off we go. Found Cage. Not sure that's helpful. Guess it's not unhelpful. Oh, they can mill their whole deck now. Okay, let's see what you got. Oh, they had Mystic Forge. Here comes their whole deck. All right. Yeah, we were a step behind this game for sure. The defense grid bought them enough time to mess up my best laid plans. Maybe I'm just supposed to force defense grid and not try to get clever on the draw against this deck that's built to dumpster. This construct should be able to solo me this turn. Yeah, they can clear the top of their deck at any point for free and eventually have enough zeros to make construct a 19. Got it. On the play in our final game of this league. Still not interested in Plow. Dress Down and Meltdown are where I want to be for that. Cage is extra good. I brought it in for Mystic Forge, but it also shuts down Echo. I'm not going to bring in Pyroblast just for Echo. I think this deck is where it's going to be. Like, Surgical Extraction is the last thing with any consideration. A second Blood Moon on the play, just try to get ahead of them with Blood Moon, but I kind of want to get set up. Yeah, I'm just going to click Submit. Same 60. Fuck yeah. Okay, keep this in. Force of Wills and Meltdowns are the cards I'm looking for, and 4 of my 5 spells in my hand are Force of Wills and Meltdowns. Opponent's on 5. Keep going. Straight to the floor. Mull to 3. Line up your hand perfectly with my 3 forces. I'm being kind of a savage right now, but in all seriousness, these Mystic Forge, like mono brown decks, they're kind of just like a fancy Belcher deck, and mulling to 5 or below is not uncommon to make sure your hand is functional. Like, all your stuff needs to line up correctly, and it's a lot to ask of a legacy deck or any deck. Just going all in on these like YOLO mulls to 5 against blue decks is just not something I would personally sign up for. I think I can sweep that up in the Meltdown easily enough. Some more. Yeah, anything that can be melted down, I think I'm just gonna let them have, and I'll counter the Karn or the Mystic Forge at the top. Force, pitching Force. 1 card left in their hand. Meltdown will clean up all of their permanents, including anything that pops out of the Saga. Ooh, that's a good draw, though. Tough choice here. I could Ending the Key, and then they basically can't do anything. I think I'm just going to pass. My plan is to let this Saga work its way through its pieces, and then just mop with Meltdown. Okay, even drew the 3rd land, so I get to keep my first blue card up. I would have had to Brainstorm for my 3rd land here if that didn't work. I'm going to take a medium-sized crunch from a construct, and I'm going to crack my lands to make sure that they don't end up tutoring a Pithing Needle that takes me off of my strategy here. Untapped Grim Monolith to activate their Saga. That's weird. What are they doing with 2 mana in their... Oh, this is the main phase. That's how this card works. Never mind. I'm going to plan for the eventual Blood Moon and just fetch basics here. Okay, if they get Lion's Eye Diamond, then I'm ready to force the Echo if that's their last card, and it is. I will admit I am a little bit worried right now because they managed to come up with 4 mana. So all their best top decks are still alive, even after I just kind of put them in the Stone Age this turn. If they rip a Karn or Forge off the top, I'm in trouble. Like, they're in top deck mode, but they have good top decks. Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck. All right. They're going to get coding and start shutting me down next turn. I'm probably going to lose this game. Teferi, what do you do? Not much, unfortunately. You have to Brainstorm. Oh, good. Force of Will. That is a good find. I'm going to put Teferi and Prismatic Ending back in the deck. And I can cycle Timeless Dragon. Though, no. Okay, I have a better plan. I'm going to Force of Will, their Liquid Metal Coating, cycle Timeless Dragon in the end step so they don't know that they're supposed to get Graveyard Hate. And then I can beat up on Karn with my 4/4. They're back to Hellbent. Are they going to wish for another thing? And I am going to get Tundra with this Timeless Dragon. There's no reason not to at this point. They just plussed Karn. Cycle for a Tundra. Tundra, escape my dragon. Karn can get, I'm sure they have an Ensnaring Bridge or something, but at least I can remove that. I can't ending a 4-drop. I can ending 3-drops. Oh god, this opponent. They're so good at drawing cards. Yep, there's the Ensnaring Bridge. How about Prismatic Ending off the top? Or Narset, Teferi. Hey, Prismatic Ending off the top. Okay, okay. I'm also good at drawing cards. Get rid of that. Attack Karn. I think I still have to attack Karn, even though they're at... I could have put them to 6 and dead if they tap their Ancient Tomb. I still think Karn just represents too much. Maybe that's wrong. So, giving your opponent a demonic tutor when you don't have to is pretty clownish, if I do say. Is there a red card I'd want to draw here? I don't think so. My Meltdown's already in the graveyard. Leaving up white makes sense. Narset turns off... Oh shit, Days Undoing. Narset turns off Echo as an out. So if they make Saga Token, like I can... No, I need to block. Yeah. And hope they don't have a Saga target that can kill my dragon. I will fetch an island here in case they get Piddling Needle. The Days Undoing spins Meltdown back into my deck. Key. That target creature becomes unblockable. Oh, that costs 3. Yikes. Okay, shit. Well, the race is back on, and I missed an attack. Ponder, okay. Come on, dress down. I will take this too. This is even more fucked up. Okay, Teferi, bounce a construct. Prismatic Ending the other construct. Okay. Wish I had attacked last turn. They'd be dead. But they have to win this game this turn. I was also pretty good at drawing cards this game. And we did it. They hit the concede button. That was a slugfest. And we put up the bread and butter 4-1, losing to Death and Taxes. This deck does have a lot of tools. I don't like how 2-for-1 dependent the early turns are with the 6 forces. I do like the ability to recoup 2-for-1s in the Planeswalkers. Shark Typhoon. Typhoon was honestly kind of medium in this deck, and you know it kills me to say that Mentor is also kind of medium in this deck, and it kills me to say that even more. We never really got to like dig in on a Mentor and really go for it, but the only proactive spells in your deck are Brainstorm and Ponder. It's not like an old Miracles deck that could just like cast Sensei's Divining Top multiple times per turn for Mentor, or even like Predict or Accumulated Knowledge, or just any of these cards that have historically been paired with Mentor. This is kind of a deck with reactive spells, expensive spells, and Ponder. That's not really a Mentor deck. I was really impressed with Timeless Dragon. The rest of the cards don't really need an introduction. The 2 main deck Supreme Verdicts came in really important against that Delver opponent who was playing really well and really cautiously and really sniffing out my removal spells the entire game, and then jammed those Murktides at the end and just like got cleaned out by the second Supreme Verdict. Feels good about that. Kozilek's return did matter over Pyroclasm. There was a game against Death and Taxes where they had Mother of Runes active, and I was drawing live where I wouldn't have been if this was Pyroclasm. Blood Moon and Back to Basics. I never cast the Blood Moon. There was never a spot where Back to Basics would have been better. Never a spot where I would have boarded in Blood Moon that I wouldn't have boarded in Back to Basics, and vice versa. So that just didn't come up. Wandering Emperor certainly had an impact on the game that she was present in. Just creating some blockers, removing some creatures. She only arrived once, but she did stuff. Worth more exploration here. You probably want 2 Meltdowns in this sideboard. Just the artifact decks, the Saga decks. I don't like bringing in Blood Moon to fight Saga. That's just not a game plan that I think is particularly good. I like Dress Down to fight Saga. I like Meltdown to fight Saga. But like if you have Wastelands in your deck anyway, then I like that. But having to bring in Blood Moon just to fight Saga, I'm not a fan of. So maybe the second Blood Moon can become a second Meltdown here. Okay, I'm going to summarize before this ends up being a 10-minute debrief. Timeless Dragon, pretty dope. 2 felt like a good number. Curving, cycle this into Eternalize this is a very real play in multiple matchups. 4 Narset felt good. 1 Days Undoing felt like the right number. I don't think Mentor pulled its weight. I don't think Shark Typhoon pulled its weight. You could probably get more out of at least 2 of these slots. Maybe leave 1 Shark Typhoon in for something big to do after a Days Undoing, but Mentor, this just isn't a Mentor deck. Hurts. Probably just want your Hull Breacher back in there or something like that. And outside of those notes, this is certainly a deck you can play. I think I like Dark Bant better still. I think I like Grixis better still. But this is something you can play, and it's something that people will play. So consider it for your Legacy tournaments. Consider that opponents will play it. Have a plan for the matchup. You are going to see it. People like this kind of deck, even if it's not the best. But it's still totally fine. And Legacy not having an obvious best control deck right now is actually healthy, even if it's frustrating for control players who just want to play the best deck and not think about it too hard. There is a metagame within the control corner of the metagame right now, and that's an exciting time to be playing Legacy. Spunky, thanks for the deck. It was solid. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Check out the Patreon, click subscribe, join the membership, buy an Island Ponder Keep shirt. This is basically the deck that inspired that meme. And I'll see you all next time.